How's it going, guys? I'm Sarcastic and Bobby Sapphire here.
Toasty!
With the post-Connecticut Regional vlog.
Got a vlog on the way home.
Yeah, got to. So yeah, as you can see, we got this little light on, and it's probably illegal, who cares? And yeah, so we both bounced out, top 8. Surprise, surprise.
Rip.
But I think what we had played today was something we just kind of wanted to play, and
definitely.
I don't think there was any expectation that we would win.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to win, obviously, as were you. But it was like, could swerve to Mill, might be safer against the field. Biggie won with Mill today. Shane won with Mill last week. But yeah, we played what we wanted to play. I specifically wanted to put on the table what I wrote about this week, which was Ayla Qui-Gon, and I like made a bunch of videos for you guys with it. I know I like posted mostly Solidarity videos, but it's not like the concept is mostly the same. Yeah, and I just wanted to prove that, I don't know, maybe to myself, that the work I'm doing is like the work I want to be doing. So that was that.
And for mine, it was more that I just wanted to put all the best cards in the deck. And
we've been talking about that a little bit. Build the best fist deck.
Yep.
And he made a shot. Jack and Tommy from Golden Dice might have the best fist deck, but that remains to be seen. We gotta test with it now.
I got the best fist and fire spray deck.
Yes.
With the hover tank. Hover tank.
Hover tank is pretty gross.
Indeed. I think I probably won more matches with hover tank than anything else.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was your roughest matchup today?
I guess the roughest would be in fucking top 8. Because, like, I don't know. I've always been inherently weak against that fucking deck. There's just... If you don't have mass die removal, you're gonna struggle because you're like, you don't know what's going on, and there's like angers. So like I got angered a bunch of times for my own dice, and I was just like, oh, and I'm like trying to set up stuff, and it's just it was not working. He has access to like feel your anger and deflect and overconfidence and hidden motive and fucking I think I already said anger. I don't know, but like
we're talking about Tarkin and Snoke, by the way.
Yeah, Tarkin and Snoke.
Yeah, I'm excited to try this deck. I did love Tarkin when he first dropped. And yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot. 4 discards sounds great.
Yeah, back then there was just too much 3-wide, so like you couldn't do the extra health. I had 28, but I think I just didn't focus enough on just bashing damage back, and I kept trying to like ramp into my big thing, and that was a failing effort. So like if I had just focused more on just pushing damage in, I would have got there. I think I was 1 health short in that second game, and he rolled out, I can't count.
You're 28 health today? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was 20.
Wait. Yeah, 28. 11, 9, and 8.
Yeah, that's crazy. What I loved was that me and Manton played at 6-0, or played for 6-0, and we were both bitter rivalry decks.
Yeah. I
thought that was cool. Obviously a worthwhile plot. Like, if you have the right deck, it's pretty strong. I know, like, Qui-Gon and Ayla together were real good today. Ayla's dice are just so good.
Indeed. Sienna's still ridiculously good. Snoke's still ridiculously good. This was like the tournament of, hey, guess what? Snoke's not dead.
Snoke's not dead. I gotta say, when you busted out Snoke yesterday on TTS and we were playing, and I was like, oof. I'm very jealous of Joe's playing Snoke right now. I very much was like, ooh, could I build this? Just because Snoke is so good. And like, you forget, a card gets nerfed. Yeah. Sort of like Ayla for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, Ayla got nerfed, no one plays Ayla, everyone just plays Yoda. And then you start playing her and you're like, man, this is why she's good. And Snoke is obviously, like, actually insane. Like, Ayla's fine, but she's no Snoke. Yeah. So, like, when I was watching you play with Snoke and you were, like... It's like, do I even mitigate the Sienna die? Do I even mitigate this Rebel Trader die? Because, like, all you're going to do is take the money. You're going to get it somehow. You already have a focus. And then you're going to play a bunch of vehicles. And I'm just going to cry. And that's what I did. And when you beat me handily 2 games in a row, that's when I knew I was ready.
You're like, we're good to go.
Take a bunch of L's to Joe the day before a tournament. I'm ready. Sleeve it up.
Sleeve it up. I guess the question is like, do you have any regrets?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because, like I said, so I wrote about Ayla this week, and I wrote about Qui-Gon specifically, and I like posted all those videos last week. So like, I feel like I'm reiterating, but you know, I really wanted to prove that deck was good. I thought it was good. I didn't have any cute shit like heightened awareness or anything. I just wanted to build like a solid ass blue hero deck, and I did that. Obviously, I would have liked to win, but I'm definitely happy that I went 7-0 Swiss. That makes me feel better, just especially after having such a bad regional last time. Just proving that I can still compete and I beat good players, so that felt good too.
Yeah, I think that regional you were just like super rusty. You like came in, you're like, what do I play, guys? I'm playing X-Wing. Yoda Leia, okay.
Yep.
Oh no, never doing this again.
Oh my god. Yeah, and it was just bad, and I get just pushed off the table. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Everyone has bad tournaments. Most of us do. Not Joe, but most of us.
I have bad tournaments.
What's your bad tournament? 6-2 at the Connecticut Regional last year? 9th place or something?
Oh. Yeah, I think I scooped the Shnu to try to get him in. But that's life. No, I think I was still at 2. I think we were playing in the X2 bracket, maybe. I can't remember.
What about you? Any regrets?
Regrets on playing that deck? No. I felt like I went back to my roots. As far as, like, I think this, and this is, like, real broken. I want to play all of them.
Slow-ass rainbow broken shit.
Rainbow broken shit. That's literally what I try to run. There were definitely some cards I wish I had some time to test. Still not very sold on Cube. I think, like, there was a game or two where I did stuff with Cube, but I think it really messed up my sequencing a lot.
What were you trying to do that, like, got screwed up by using the resource?
So, like, one, I couldn't do any, like, the mind trick shenanigans. Two, if I wanted to, so, like, by trying to cube and then roll out, I found myself in that situation where I want to focus the cube to then make money and then, like, try to do some other stuff. So, like, the dilemma was just, like, alright, if I'm trying to cube and, like, Rebel Trader, but then I wanted to, like, sneak a mind trick in, because, like, all of my removal was pretty much zeros, but then I had some flanks, some illusions, some mind tricks. So there were just situations where, like, the cube could then mess up me trying to roll out my vehicle and untap it before Sienna dies. And, like, that's real problematic, because I'm trying to trade her to get the money to then roll out, to then untap and still have money left for pay sides. So, like, there was a lot of, like, really odd sequencing that I think if I just didn't try to force cube stuff, I'd probably be okay with.
Yeah.
And it would give me the slots to run things like Probe.
Probe? You were going to run Probe?
Not necessarily, but he gives me the slot for it.
Yep.
Just, like, stuff to clear the path so I can get in. I think, like, ID10 was really interesting. There's a lot of scary shit when it comes to trying to use ID10, but I think the fact of just being able to peek at your opponent's hand and pick any card is just so good. Even if you give them 2 actions, it's like bananas a lot of the time. Yeah. Plus, it's absurd with Rebel Trader. You're like, I roll in, now you roll in, now I peek at your hand. Mm-hmm. Look at him, now look at you, now look at him again.
Yeah, Trader's a pain in the ass to play against, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, you want to just go kill him so he can't do that to you anymore, but you
There's a Sienna
can't, because Sienna and Snoke are just so incredible.
Yep.
We were actually having a good game before the tournament. We got, like, half a game in.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was, like, pretty back and forth. It was an interesting match, for sure. Yeah. I don't know if I have any card slots like that I wish that I could take back.
Well, actually, I was able to get more testing, so I could realize I should be playing Failure Anger, because Rebel Trader sets up a bunch of dice in the pool.
Right.
So, like, maybe I don't want to spend 2 on Mind Trick all the time, but Failure Anger is very likely to become usable.
Yeah.
It's not usable in every match. Like, sure, there's Yodas and shit, but, like, in a lot of matchups, you know, you're getting multiple dice in the pool.
Right.
Or, like, guys are playing decks with, like, a bunch of additional blanks. So, like, I don't know, it would have been very, very good against Snoke Tarkin, but there was a ridiculous amount of decks where it's like, oh, they're on, like, 4 to 8 dice in the pool all of a sudden because I Rebel Trader.
Right.
So, like, I'd be more inclined to be able to actually feel your anger properly in those situations, and that would be much better than most of the stuff I was attempting to do.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's kind of like what you get when you play 5 games with something and you build it the day before.
Yeah.
Just gonna happen.
But it's life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a beautiful thing when we're just like, I'm going to build this deck, and I'm going to go play it. And it seems right. Let's go.
My favorite card in the week was Your Eyes Can Deceive You.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've talked about it. It's feel bad because it costs 1 when all the villain ones cost 0. But man, that card did so much work for me. Like, my whole idea between Your Eyes Can Deceive You was to get it down as early as possible, and then when Vader would steal the battlefield and roll out first, threaten, that I could roll back and blank one of his dice. So as long as he didn't roll like 4-4-4 or something like that, that I could really I could roll out and threaten and like blank him, which, you know, soft removal, obviously very good against Vader, is really solid. So, and I like that it works off of rerolls too. So even though like Qui-Gon has 2 shield sides, and all his weapons have a shield side, that I felt good about like doing a reroll and being able to hit it. So it was just really strong. I got it out a lot today, and it was really good.
What was your scariest match?
Probably that Vader in round 7 on stream. That was like kind of weird because like I killed his, like he claimed and I killed his Vader with my last card, and like I shook his hand because I was like, oh, the game's over, Vader's dead, but he still had a Greedo. I only had 1 card left to an Ancient, but I also had the Shoto plus Qui-Gon Saber combo to like heal, draw, heal, and get ahead in the damage race. Plus I would get my prized possessioned Qui-Gon die back. So it was a little awkward, but that was scary just because, yeah, if I didn't kill Vader there, he was going to roll out. My Qui-Gon was hit pretty hard. And then my loss in the top 8, I mean, that was frightening just because game 1, round 1 Vader's Fist, just too early for that. I could be okay if I had a turn to like shield up and save some resources, but round 1 Vader's Fist is just so brutal. And then game 2, just couldn't get any damage through, got mitigated too much, and into Rise again. And he played Rise Again both games, 1 for a Dark Saber, 1 for a Maul Saber. Rise Again's just so insane in Vader.
It's very good, but it's also tough for you because you don't have any control sides.
Right.
So it's just like, it's pure life-saving, pure damage for the most part. CQA to help out.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that makes sense for like minor adjustments there, but I can't even make it into that. But in case we didn't talk about the decks, he played Qui-Gon Ayla, Bitter Rival on Theed. I played Elite Snoke, Rebel Trader, Sienna on Theed. It's like, why did you play Weapon Factory Alpha? Because I wanted Resource. I didn't care what the hell was going on. Resource makes it easier if I play the Fist to get to 6 to then Fist and have a Resource left over.
For sure.
But like I often felt like I needed some ability to draw. So like maybe I put like Boundless in the deck or something. It's like shit was just like, my hand would get blown up and it's like, alright. Or I'd like cast a couple cards and then like get my vehicle down, but I need to reroll. So like if I was rolling like hot garbage, it would be like, it was bad. But overall, what are your thoughts? We had what? Tarkin Snoke. We had the return of Thrawn Snoke.
Vader Greedo.
Vader Greedos, Yoda Leia 2.
Yep. Fish sticks.
Fish sticks.
So two hero sticks, Ayla decks.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very interested in playing the GDP deck and checking out Tarkin Snoke. I think that could be really good. I would like to see how good that is. One of these days, I think we should just build a good Vader deck and see, because man, when that thing's cranking, it is cranking.
So like my issue with the Vader deck is just like it's primarily this. Like, yes, when you run good, you're like unstoppable. The dilemma is there's just so much hate for coping with like Vader that sometimes if your opponent has the good card, the stuff to stop you, you can't do anything about it. Like, you don't get a choice in the matter.
Like what cards?
Well, so like we all know Suppressive Fire already messes with them quite a bit. But like anytime where someone mitigates one die, like one of Vader's actual dice, you have to like pause and fucking think, like, shit, what am I gonna run into here? Because if you pull your die back out. You're like, yeah, power action, and then all of a sudden you get blown out.
Yep.
Mind trick in the crosshairs.
Guard. Like I did it multiple times today against my Vader opponents.
Yeah, so it's just like, I had one Vader opponent. I mitigated his die, and then he results 5 damage with what else he had on the table. And like I was like, whoa, because like I was prepared for him to discard and then meet a mind trick, and it was just like, yo, what happened? I don't understand.
I played against B Mini, and he played. What's that card he played against me? Resolve my die, or I discard my hand.
I am your father.
He tried to make me his daddy. He tried to be my daddy, and I just like, I'll discard 4, and then because I had a Qui-Gon on 3 sticks.
Yep. And
then a +3 showing, and I was like, give me that, and I just hit him.
Jack hit me with I am your father. He took my two indirect and threw it back at me.
Rip.
It was rough.
I get to live the dream with a, I already told you about this, but I'll tell everyone. The, stole a blue character shield, stole Dooku's shield with dagger to be my 3rd shield, to pump up 2 of my Qui-Gon upgrade damage sides to like swing for 8, which was pretty hot. I thought that was cool. There's a lot of cool plays with the Qui-Gon Ayla. I just was always on my back foot in the top 8. Just could never get a footing.
Life stuff.
Yeah, life's hard.
I'm trying to think what else is there. We heard about some Talzin Iden decks.
Yeah, some Iden decks rocking Green Bay.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy.
Yep. Biggie won with Mill. Where was he?
He was in Detroit.
Detroit. Okay. Was it 3-wide?
He played 3-wide. Yep.
3-wide. So yeah.
And then Alabama was going on. Watched the top 8 of that for a second. It was like Vader Greedo versus Luke 3, Han 3, Han 2.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, I put it on. I watched it. It was Luke 3 in the new Han. Is that third Han? Yeah, third Han. Not third. Han was third.
And then didn't Talzin Iden win Canada? It was like a 13-person Canada.
Oh really? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know which version. I can't remember if it was the Blockade or the AR one. But we've been having some interesting decks pop up at the Wordworks. Like I think Vader's very good. I think he's better than the Gatekeeper.
Yeah, I agree.
He's better than the normal Gatekeeper. Because the normal Gatekeeper is like this, like tier 2 deck, almost tier 1.5 or something like that, that just keeps decks out of the ability to play. And he's a bit higher than that because he has the capability of winning. Normally, like the Gatekeeper decks are just highly played. They make top cut, like they almost like never win. But they keep everyone the hell away. As far as like, you know, you couldn't really play 3-wide outside of like FN in Spirit of Rebellion because Poe would ruin your shit.
Right.
But like FN could just fight because they will allow kill Poe right now, and you're not gonna do nothing. But like outside of that, you couldn't play 3 or 4 wide because you got ruined. And it's kind of like one of those things now, like Yoda, Leia, stuff like that was supposed to gatekeep 3-wide decks away because if you ran into them, you would just get ruined. You can't keep taking 2 AoE or 4 AoE around, then you just die. But that's something I think that Hover Tank also does right now.
Yep.
And I played against many a Force Wave and Hover Tank, and I don't know what the hell these people were doing. I was like, yo, what is this?
I tried to be 3-wide to swerve.
I played 3-wide because I shouldn't be playing against anything that does damage AoE to everybody. All I did was play against people that had damage AoE to everybody.
I can't believe you... And you played against Yoda Boosh, too.
Yeah, I played against Yoda Boosh.
One thing my top 8 opponent did that I thought he overconfidence one of his Vader dice against one of my Qui-Gon dice, but Qui-Gon had 2 shields.
Oh.
And I was like, oh boy. Like, does he know? Like, how good this... Like, I mean, obviously, he's got the 4 and the 3, which is great. But if he doesn't roll the 4 or the 3, I mean...
Then 50% of your die roll wins,
Yeah, it wins. But he got it, because justice.
Fair.
Because justice.
Justice. Yeah, I don't know. Things are really interesting right now. Like, we'll definitely see stuff popping out. And I think the reason we're seeing Snoke is because... so the theory, like, way back, right? If you just kind of think... like a full set ago, 2 sets ago, it was like, alright, you know, Mill comes up the cut, Mill's really good. What beats Mill? Snoke. Alright, let's format switches to like this Snoke format where everyone's playing Snoke. What just won the other week? Mill. What the hell just came back out the woodworks? Snoke.
Yeah.
Fucking bastard. You nerfed him. You thought he was gone. The rumors of his demise were greatly exaggerated.
Greatly. I cannot be defeated.
At least where we were. We have this crackhead meta because apparently we were all like, we're all going to run Snoke. What just happened? There's like 4 Snoke decks in the top 8. What the fuck?
Cody was saying that Manton, he was saying that he was on your deck. Did you talk to him about it? He said that he was working on it.
People probably... Well, so the original theory was like, alright, Snoke gets nerfed, alright, that's fine. We'll run Snoke and like 2 8-point characters.
Right.
So like, the problem was figuring out a deck that would work.
Right.
A lot of, like, pretty much I didn't get to the point where I could make this deck work until I had played pretty much a whole heap of other decks that used bits and pieces from them, but like, there were things missing. I realized what I really needed, what I didn't need, the stuff that was like really good, the stuff that was kind of okay. So like I was able to kind of cut this like 50 card monstrosity down to like 30 cards just barely.
Yeah.
And then like that's really what it boiled down to. I was able to kind of streamline the process, and that made it capable of actually just playing out. Whereas if we just like straight up built it, like maybe I don't run handheld, maybe I don't run tanks, maybe I'm just like, oh, fire spray, blah blah blah. Maybe I put Shadowcaster in because Shadowcaster is really good. I'm making all this money, but like I don't make that much money to run Shadowcaster.
Yeah.
Maybe I could, but it's not necessary.
This is kind of tangential, but I mean, not even tangential. It's like way off topic. But something you said made me think of it. Is like, if you know how in Magic, you can play 60, but 60 is just the minimum.
Yeah.
You can play more. If you could play more, would you play more?
No.
Because there's the thing where like you want to draw all your best cards, so you don't want to dilute your deck and play like 34.
Yeah.
But like with Mill being as good as it is, and like it being hard to cut down to 30, do you think like 32, 33 is the right call ever? So
like if you're saying the option was 30 to 35, would I be on 30 or 35? I'm pretty sure I'd be always on 30 unless Mill's that good that I should just go 35.
Okay. I love, like, when I draft Magic, I always play 41 cards, because fuck you. That's why.
Well, so here's the dilemma, though, because that actually changes the math a bit. Do you go 17 land or 18 land?
Well, it depends on the format, but a lot of times, when it's a 17 land format, or an 18 land format, I'm happy to do the 41st card.
Yeah.
If it's a 16 lander, I do not go.
Yeah.
But
like,
it does change the math slightly.
It does.
Not to get all into Magic.
But that's fine. Like, it's also dependent on, like, what your deck's doing. Like,
for sure.
Is that extra card an additional 2-drop? Because now you're, like, more likely to smooth out the early game. But there's a lot of, like, putting things kind of in your favor for that. As far as, like, alright, I need the extra guy. The land count percentage changing just minimally is fine. So blah, blah, blah.
Hey, their light's on, too. Maybe they're recording a vlog as well.
Yeah.
Guest star. Yo, girl. I think it also comes from, like, when I used to play Star Wars CCG, it was always, like, you could only play 60.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, if I can fit one more, I just want that one more card.
No, I've always been big, like, numbers type thing. You're looking for very specific cards.
Right, and you want to hit them. Especially the Mulligan Math in Destiny is so good.
Yeah, so, like, very seldom is there some card you couldn't cut to put that card that you really, really needed in.
Right.
There's usually some card that was like, it's okay, you don't really need it. The only time you really did that is if, like, in theory, you had this huge tutorable set of options in your deck, and, like, you absolutely needed this extra card because you can't mess with, like, your land base or something, but you need this tech card to win this match that you can't win otherwise.
Right.
And you need every other card because every other match, I don't know. That's, like, the only situation where I could do it, because, like, the tutor would just kind of fix all of that bullshit. But, I don't know. I think, overall, the format's going to be interesting. We're going to kind of see Wild Wild West all over again, where there's a whole heap of shit.
It was a pretty diverse tournament. Everyone kept saying how, like, they're surprised there wasn't more Vader. I played Vader twice in Swiss, once in the top 8. You played Vader once. There was a good amount of Vader there, but I guess it wasn't like... They said Virginia was like 2/3 Vader, so... I guess that's different.
I don't know. It's tough, but, like, I also think we had a lot of the higher end guys, I think, that were like, we need to find an answer to the, you know, what's the meta breaker?
Right.
What's the deck that crushes all this shit? There's got to be something.
Right, and
like,
if you... no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of us were playing on decks. We hadn't been playing for more than like a few days.
Yeah, I mean, I played 2 weeks, my deck for 2 weeks, which is still isn't that long, but probably longer than most.
Yeah.
But I think another reason, like, there was this debate in our Discord about, like, why don't good players play Vader? And I think for me, and I think at some level a lot of people go through this, is that, like, if the format is 2/3 Vader, and you, like, literally expect 50% of the room to be Vader, like, I don't want to be on that deck that everyone's aiming for. I want to be on something that can peripherally attack it and not just get blown out by the things that blow Vader out. But, like, I don't know necessarily what that is that blows Vader out that wouldn't be good against other things, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's kind of tough to think of. There's probably some crazy hate deck that would crush Vader, but then, like, scrubs against like everything else.
Yeah, like a Crime Lord deck.
Yeah, Crime Lord, or if you're just like, oh, all these double crosses and all these suppressifiers and all of these like random hate cards that just fucking ruin Vader, but then like you lose to everything else because that shit just doesn't work.
Right.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so as far as like not playing like Vader per se, so like I don't think it has to do with not playing the popular deck. I think if the popular deck we felt was the best deck, we'd have no issue just putting the deck together, you know, making whatever our tweaks or tech cards are and playing it. I think the dilemma is like Vader isn't realistically that type of best deck that you would normally want as, let's say, like a high-end player normally, because like there are a lot of times there would just be things out of your control. And we had this discussion in our Discord, or it was ongoing with like talking about Red Deck Wins, which is a Magic deck if you're not familiar with it. But the theory behind Red Deck Wins was I only need to do 20 damage to my opponent to win the game. So Red Deck Wins would be like a bunch of like 1-drop guys with like haste, maybe some 2-drop guys with like haste, and like a bunch of burn spells, and you occasionally would have some 3 through 5-drop that would like fly and have haste and bash your opponent. Throughout the realm of time, Red Deck Wins is always adjusted accordingly, whether they have 3 damage burn to face, 4 damage burn to face. But the original thinking was like, alright, if I play 7 cards that deal 3 damage, I kill you. If I play a guy on 1 that hits you for 2, and you can't stop him, and then he hits you again for 2 next round, he like did his job because he got you for 4. So he like changes the math and the clock and whatnot. So Red Deck Wins was all about like crushing people before they got their game started. And like that's perfectly fine. Vader can do the same thing. Vader makes it really hard for your opponent to mitigate. If you get your stuff to show damage, you can just straight crush a guy. But like the downfall is just the same thing Red Deck Wins has an issue with. If shit goes bad, real bad all of a sudden, you do not come back from that. Vader can, because he could just roll nutty and like crush you, but
yeah, that's just the nature of Destiny.
Yeah, and like his big thing is just like you can't counter his dice easily. So like that's the reason he's pretty much allowed to just like nut roll after and then kill you, or like come back and kill you, and you're just like, oh well, I was controlling him great for 4 rounds, and then all of a sudden I got like
he rolled a 12.
I got 12. My guy died, and I took 3, and then his die came back out.
Where'd you get 12?
Got 12. Oh, that Vader Fist came down round 1 and killed me. So like the dude has a really high. He has a moderately high floor, and could potentially have a ridiculously high ceiling if allowed to. So like if the opponent hits no mitigation, can't touch his dice, he has a ridiculously monstrous ceiling. He could just one-shot a guy round 1. And if you drew nothing to deal with it, you drew nothing to deal with it, and you're dead. Like you'll see many times that shit will happen. You'll also see someone have to re-roll Vader like 3 times trying to find a base side to pair with their Vader Saber and not find it, and then they find it and you kill it, and then they pull it back and they missed again, and then they pitch and then you kill the die, and then they're just like, oh, fuck my whole round. Like,
yep,
like it happens all of the time, and like that's the reason you don't see a lot of the quote-unquote better players always playing it. Like if someone likes the way it runs, it doesn't really matter what your skill level is. It's just like the people who are focusing on kind of outplaying their opponent tend to play things with much larger decision trees and the ability to, you actually just outplay the opponent, and not just like, all right, I hit the nut roll and I got you, because there's not much you get to kind of choose and decide with Vader besides like, do I resolve, do I reroll?
Do I close my eyes and pray?
Yeah.
Or did I already hit it?
And like, that's perfectly fine. There's always going to be really good decks that do that. But like me, I just don't think it had enough going for it for me to realistically want to run it when I can do things like Snoke and stuff like that, and kind of like mind game and try to outplay my opponent and do different stuff. So like that's the big thing for me. That's why I'm not like huge on Vader. I don't sleep on people that play him. Like I can definitely get crushed and lose to him, but I'm also like ready for his bitch ass.
I did like, and I do like decks that give you a lot of play. Like I love playing the Qui-Gon Ayla deck today, just because I was able to like cast shields so much and like really mess with people's math. Like even just having 2/2 shields out on Qui-Gon, it's like, all right, I'll put 2 on me and 3 on Ayla, and now I'm +5. So go ahead, you resolve whatever indirect die you want. Things like that. Like just being able to mess with people's math because I'm constantly shielding, or like dropping. Like a couple times I dropped robes after I'd already activated Qui-Gon, just like for that second shield late in the turn. I'd held up to mitigate. I didn't need to mitigate. Add the shield there. There's just a lot of plays that I really liked that really messed with people, led to mistakes.
I like being able to disrupt people because people are so like money hungry for Theed, and then I'm like, hey, look, it's a disrupt, and they're like, oh no. It's like, yeah, spend all your money. You're never gonna be back to any sort of playing anything that costs 1. Hope you got a bunch of zeros, bro. Never resolving shit. Fuck you. But that's all I got. You got anything?
No, we're almost home, so.
Alright. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. Thanks for watching. And yeah, stay tuned for more episodes. Are we maybe on New Jersey?
Yeah, pretty hard maybe.
Pretty hard maybe. I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah.
For me, there's not much to gain.
Right.
We've already got the world seat set up for the whole group.
Good job, Biggie. I'm the only one that doesn't have a seat, but I have reflexes +1.
Yeah. So we're pretty much set for that. Getting a buy for National is not like some huge thing that we want. Sure, getting like the shields. What the fuck is the top 2 thing? Top 4 shields.
Binder?
Yeah. Really? There's a fucking binder for top 2?
I thought so. I think it's a binder.
What the fuck, FFG? If you're listening, you're an asshole.
I think we already did this one.
Well, we call them an asshole every time because like we don't get spoilers anymore, and they decided not to tell us. They told everybody else. They were like, "Oh, you're not gonna get spoilers because of this." It's like, "Oh, okay," and then like, people cut shit. But us, no.
Jeremy Charude.
They're just like, "Fuck you."
Yep.
That's all I got to say.
I got my mat. Put it in the pile with the others.
All right. You guys have a great one. Deuces.
Deuces later.